Want to shop Walmart Black Friday deals first? Walmart Plus members get early access to our hottest deals. Join now and get 50% off a 1-year annual membership. Shop Black Friday deals first with Walmart Plus. See terms at walmartplus.com.
Late Night Mavs fans, this is Kirk Henderson, and I am one of the showrunners here at Pod Maverick. You are joining us for Mavs Party. It is our fan-centric show where you can join me and talk a little basketball as we celebrate the Dallas Mavericks defeating who the heck did we play tonight? Denver Nuggets 123-120, probably one of the more exciting and I would say satisfying games of the year as the Mavericks built a 24-point lead, gave the lead back, won the game anyways. I felt all the things in that game, in the sense of there were times where I was really upset. There were times where I was really happy. And there were times where it's just like laughing at the ridiculousness of a basketball game. So we got Brian waiting already, but for those of you who are unfamiliar, in the YouTube comments, I have pinned a post that said, come join the Mavs Party, and a link to StreamYard.com. That is an easy-to-join app, which you can join from your computer. You can join from your phone. You can show your face if you want to. You can come ask questions. You can come yell at me. Doesn't really matter. We're going to have fun. We like talking basketball. Brian, thanks for getting us started. What's going on, buddy?
Mavericks win. That's what's going on, man. You know what's going on. Feeling really good. And I was not earlier. You heard me in the playback. In the third quarter, I was unraveling.
Yes.
Spiraling even, as most of us were. But they cleaned it up towards the end. PJ Washington, once again, late in a big game with one of our stars missing, was like an absolute hoss, dude. Like, look, man, this is why I was going to bat so hard ever since the Phoenix game, where he just couldn't hit anything.
He was so bad in that game, man.
He was so bad offensively in that game, and people were just, I don't know if this is going to work. Trade PJ. I'm like, dog, y'all, we don't win against the teams we need to get where we're trying to go if we don't have this dude. Like, it's not always going to look like this offensively, although it happened more often than not since he's come back. But defensively, everything was on display. The rebounding, everything's been on display. Like, since he's come back, he said coming back into the Thunder game just how much of an emphasis the coaches put, like, towards him defensive rebounding and making sure that we're cleaning up the defensive boards and we're not leaving ourselves susceptible there to a bunch of offensive rebounds the way we were earlier in the season. And he's done such a good job there. Grimes has too, but PJ especially. Mm-hmm. And dude, just to see him have this performance and go on that 9-0 run in the clutch and close that game out for us, basically, he and Najee, it was really, really cool and really, really fun. And there were a lot of fun performances tonight that thankfully allowed me to almost forget about Russell Westbrook hitting 4 threes.
The threes that he made were so upsetting. What did you say, that he's not hit 4 threes in a game in over a year?
Yeah, I forget who it was that said it. I think it might have been David, but yeah, he hadn't had 3 made threes in a game since like March of 2023, I think.
My goodness.
And we got that game, and thank God we survived it, because I don't know if I would have if we had lost after he – and the funny part about the threes wasn't just that we left him open. He's obviously the guy you want shooting, right? It's that I saw PJ and I think Najee do this too. They tried to do the Cornet contest, and it's like, brother, you understand that works because he's 7 foot.
They
But
did
like,
that to Christian Braun, I think, and I'm like, what are we doing, guys? Like, it's one thing to do that contest, and I think you really, and granted, this might just be my old head basketball brain, but you remember when KP used to just not challenge shooters? Like
yeah.
he would, and I'm like, I really do think it makes a difference. I really do.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's, God, those Luke Cornett contests are great because they were doing the like.
Well, yeah, and again, it works because he's 7 feet with super long arms. If you can do anything to disrupt line of sight from eye to basket, that helps. No matter how far away you are, that helps, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you're not doing that at 6'7", brother.
Like,
no matter how long.
And they look, and it's a great look. It's like Dumbledore calling Fox in the Order of the Phoenix. Where it's like, and then he pieces out of the room, and I'm like, what are we? You're 20 feet away from that guy.
Yeah, it looks like you're doing jumping jacks. Listen to an old Richard Simmons workout tape, man. Come on.
I think what I'm enjoying most about the PJ attack mode thing that we have going on is teams are putting smaller guys on him, and he is punishing the smaller guy on repeat. And that is something that if you like, we keep talking about this. Kyrie Irving is 6'1.5", 6'2.5" on a tall day.
Mm-hmm.
Luka's, let's just say he's 6'7". Clay is 6'7". PJ 6'6" to 6'8", rangy arms. And then you have Lively or Gafford. The Mavericks are a big team. So if you're putting a smaller guy on him and he's punishing, and eventually what that'll change is the scouting report is, okay, well, we're going to have to put a smaller guy on someone else because we need to move a bigger body over to PJ Washington. And how does that change your offense? Are you putting a 6'3" water bug on Klay Thompson instead? Are you going to do that with one of the greatest shooters of all time? How does that affect him? Like, there's just a lot of like cascading stuff. What PJ becoming? This is like a legitimate. He's playing like a very good offensive player, not a person who can just hit some shots. Like just an all around offensive guy. So it really can change the way this offense is structured if his attack mode elements are. He had one, and it had to have been. I think it was the one when the Mavericks were down 5 in the final minutes, and it was from the left wing where he kind of gets the ball and like a weird like kick out to him, and he takes one dribble up past the the break and the 3-point line, and then just attack the rim straight on. Like those sorts of things are beautiful. And the Mavericks having one more guy that can do it off the dribble, I think has profound consequences in a positive way.
Well, what it is, it's the Aaron Gordon thing and like I don't mean to like stick and like only praise PJ, but like this stuff really matters. It matters to me. It's the Aaron Gordon thing where okay, we've got a dude that can guard up and down the lineup, just about every position, depending on the personnel. And then on the other end, if you put somebody that is too small on him, we're going to put him in the post and we're going to allow him to punish you. And if you put somebody that's too big on him, we're going to put him on the perimeter and we're going to let him run right by you and then get to the rack. And the fact that vision that we had for him coming to the scene last year is now starting to be realized. Like if this were the PJ from last year and you're not getting like the OKC series level, okay, he'll give you a clutch corner 3 because he was good for that last year. But if he's not giving you that, you're not really sure where the offense is coming from. If we were getting that PJ, things look a lot different. He's so much more comfortable. He's so much more confident and aggressive. It really, really helped. And that's something so fundamental to what PJ's doing in the post when they're putting smaller wings and smaller guards on him. What Lively is starting to do with when they put a smaller player on his back, just turning and giving that little jump hook. The Dan Gafford put back and offensive rebound stuff. There's something so fundamental about like, hey, I have a size advantage against you, whether it be strength or height, and I just have the coordination and functional athleticism that is going to let me take advantage of it, and I'm going to turn that into points, and you're not going to be able to stop me. Not enough on average. Like there's something so fundamental to basketball about that. that this team has been lacking for a long time. That it's so cool to see us be able to actually take advantage of size advantages we have, and not just have dudes out there kind of just flailing around and not really sure what to do with the ball when the star doesn't have it.
Yeah. Well, and I can see like what's fun, and I'm using that word kind of sarcastically, is it's so wonderful and odd and I don't want to tell anybody how to fan, but after like a great win, it doesn't have to be a just sort of an entire assessment of what the Mavericks need to be, or who they are, whether Doncic is getting 30% usage or whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
I want to say I'm worried about that, but when you're 9-7, so you're roughly almost like we're approaching the quarter mark of the season, and Luka hasn't looked his best. There's just a way there's still plenty of time for these guys to figure it out. And so what we talked about almost the entire offseason was that the Mavericks needed to play consistently above 500 basketball. So when they start the season 5-7 and we're quite rightfully screaming at the trees, like now you look at and we talked about this, like there's the schedule poised ahead. Luka Doncic or not, I think this team can do some damage. Like I said 11-5 is sort of my goal for the rest of the year. And maybe that's not right. I can't remember the game count, but it's right up until Christmas, like 11-5, something like that. And if they're able to do that or outperform that would put them at roughly 6 games over 500, which would be better than they were last year. I'm pretty sure of that. And that's what you're looking for is like some level of growth. You don't want the Mavericks to have to play like 65% basketball down the stretch where they win 2 out of every 3 games. Cause that's not doable. It's just not. I know that seems blasphemous to be somebody who's like, well, these Mavericks can win these games. And I'm like, there's just too many games, guys. When you play 4 games in a week, you're going to shit the bed sometimes. And it's a matter of how and what do you look like? So there's just a lot of positive things to build off of right now. And I'm not really worried about the Luka element of it because I think if you were to go back through the games that Luka played, I think we got like 1.5 actual, like 6 total quarters of good Luka basketball that would be up to his standards. What do you think?
I agree. And so I was not long-term worried, but definitely short-term worried about the Luka situation prior to him verbally acknowledging, yeah, I'm kind of banged up right now, because as most of us who have like been with this team and rooting for this team since he's gotten here, he doesn't talk about injuries unless he's actually hurt. He'll get on the court and he'll fake limp after he gets beat on the drive or something, and he'll do all that stuff when he that's.
But he doesn't do the Joel Embiid. He doesn't do that.
But he doesn't bring it up, mention it to the media. It doesn't get put, like, they'll put whatever on the injury report or whatever, but he doesn't let the word injury or banged up or hurt or anything like that come out of his mouth unless he's actually feeling something and it's affecting how he's playing. And the way he was playing the first 6 games, really the whole first stretch, but definitely the first 6 games was so bad and so inexplicably bad that that makes way more sense than anything else that we were coming up with as we were spiraling. Him getting this opportunity to rest now because of this wrist thing is a blessing in disguise for him and for this team, because I think that he is going to see how well this team is playing, how fast this team is playing without him out there. And
fastness. That's actually the thing that I'm most.
It's the speed, and it's not just the speed, because I'm not even just talking about like what they're doing in on the fast break and like in the full court. The decisiveness with which they're acting in the half court, like these role players, like Quentin Grimes, like the shot he took late in the game, the little step back 3 or whatever. I know there were a lot of people who were not that happy with it. I didn't mind that shot at all because it didn't look like very many other people on the court wanted to shoot at the time. And the fact that he got the ball, he surveyed the court, nobody was really open. He knew it was time for him to create something, and he just stepped back into a shot that he was comfortable with, and he made that decision in like 2 seconds. Like, these are the kinds of things, like empowering guys to be able to do that, which is something Kyrie is great at, where even though he couldn't put the ball in the basket, really, he let these role guys feel empowered. That's how you get a game like this from Najee, a game like this to end the game from PJ, right? Like Luke is gonna see all of this, and he's not gonna want to like stand in the way of it. He's gonna
No,
want to
he
be
doesn't
part
want
of
to
it.
fuck it up. Like that
That's
was
not the way he plays basketball.
it was either Kid or Kyrie in Tim McMahon's story earlier in the year where it's like I think it might have been Kid asking Luka before last season, just sort of sending him a text saying, "Hey, we need to play faster," and Luka just saying, "Okay."
Yeah.
And not fighting it, and it did, and they did play faster. And so let me just read you the game log of what you're talking about. This was a key sequence of the game. At 2:41, PJ Washington makes that driving layup I described. It made the score 113-110. Nuggets still up. At
Yes.
2 minutes and 13 seconds, Michael Porter Jr. missed a long pull-up jumper. Kind of late in the shot clock, if I remember correctly. Derek Lively gets the rebound at the 2:10 mark, so 3 seconds later. 2 seconds after that, 2 seconds, PJ Washington scores off of a Kyrie assist. So it goes Lively, Kyrie, PJ in 2 seconds. I mean, it's probably more than that because I think they're probably wrong on when Lively got the rebound. But the ball moves faster than the player, regardless. So that's the sort of thing. And Luka knows this. Luka loves passing ahead, but I think he's going for the home run more than he does the connecting piece pass.
Yeah, what he needs to get better at is understanding it's okay to hit a single or a double. And it's not even about like trusting your teammates, but knowing that your teammates know what to do, right? In order to get you all the way back home. Like that particular play where Kyrie, beautiful hit ahead pass, right on the money to PJ. PJ, incredibly heads up play that I genuinely believe saved the game. Because if we don't get an and one here and convert the free throw, I don't like our chances nearly as much. He catches the ball, gets right under the basket, sees and feels the defender right behind him, catches and holds, wait till he feels the contact, then he goes up. And I'm like, dude, that's such an incredibly heady. Like, this is what we're talking about when we're mentioning, like, PJ he's not a Dorian level offensive player. Like, this is a dude that was at Kentucky when Kentucky was Kentucky on the same team as Shea and in the same year got drafted like 2 spots ahead of him. Like this is a real NBA player with real NBA pedigree who knows what he's doing out there. And so to see him make that play in that moment and be empowered to make that play after, having like had a couple good plays or stretches right before that to get to that point, that's where I'm like, okay, yeah, we're still in this game. Things look bad literally a minute and a half ago, but we're still in this game. We've got a good chance to win it now.
Yep. This was really something. Well, we've been talking for a bit. I wonder, and there's nobody else that wants to come up tonight. I guess this is my fault for when I don't do these consistently enough. I just had my ass kicked. I feel like every night since daylight savings time. It's
okay. It's not just you because I've been kind of fucked up ever since daylight savings time started.
That's right.
Like my sleep schedule has been wonky.
Yeah, it's been terrible. Well, you got any other takes you want to fire off?
Najee keeps shooting those floaters, dude. He's got to be 78% in like that floater range at this point.
I checked at halftime. He is at halftime. He was 6 of 7 from 2 at that point in the game, which made him 60 something. What was he? He was 53. He's shooting in the high 60s from 2-point range. That's not even floaters. This is just 2-point range.
Yep.
So it's pretty wild.
Yeah, no, he is that dude. Dude is a really good, really smart basketball player. Look, man, I love Derrick Jones Jr. to death. This is the last time you're gonna hear me bring his name up next to or in response to anything that has to do with Najee. We are so past that now. We've got a good team, and this is a really good basketball player who is a really good, really well-fitting addition to what we're trying to do. Like I was all over it in the summer when they happened, but adding him and Grimes, replacing DJJ and Josh Green with him and Grimes being just like, what if Josh was all that athleticism he had was actually functional athleticism And what if he was a shooter that you actually trusted to make shots in big moments and not just like with 6 feet of wide open space? Like adding those two and them being as good as they've been this early is so huge for this team. And it was looking shaky for Quinn early. I had faith he was going to bounce back, but now I'm glad that he didn't sign that whatever extension I'm certain they were offering him. That was probably something like 7-8 mil a year. He's probably going to end up getting it. He's probably going to end up getting more, and he's going to get it from us. And
maybe, yeah, and they'll figure. I sort of think, and granted, you got 60 games to go. I sort of think they will figure something out, just because there's not the money on the market, and yeah, he can go find a deal, and the Mavs can match it. I mean, there's a lot of, there's a report. I don't know who it was from, but the Mavericks are like, Kyrie Irving is not interested in leaving the Mavericks, which
I think that was McMahon.
Which is a big duh to anybody that has followed Kyrie's career, in the sense that he's as content as he probably has been and playing well in a system that works for him. And so it's like the Mavericks have some money things that they're going to have to figure out to stay away from the second apron. But I don't want to be an accountant, so I'm not going to think about it right now, and I'm going to let them figure it out. And I'm just very pleased that they got Marshall for what they did. I think they can probably find Grimes for an agreeable contract. It would be shocking if he somehow got less money than Josh Green, who it's like he does all the stuff we wanted Green to do.
He does all the stuff we wanted Josh to do. And you know what's funny? I do think we're going to get him for less than what we pay Josh. I think we're going to get him for somewhere between the $9 million a year that Najee got and like $12 million.
Right. That's what I think too.
Money.
Yep.
And that is a steal. That is a bargain, considering what we had just signed Josh to and what we ended up moving him to Charlotte to get Clay.
Is this Maxi's last year? Does he have one more year? I think he has one more year.
I think he has. Yeah, he's not expiring until next.
No,
this is his second to last year.
You wonder if they maybe try to like essentially move him, because the salary cap will go up, but it won't go up by any like marginal amount. I just said I didn't want to be an accountant, and here I am talking about this.
Because like this is kind of really the only part that's left. It's like, hey, there's one real, like, knowing that Exum is going to come back and hoping that he'll be something like what he was for us last year, just now in like an actual smaller scaled down role where he doesn't have to kill himself with minutes in December like he did last year. The only real hole kind of on this team is backup 4. And that's if you want to consider it that, because, Najee can just like step in and play that role sometimes. But we, and like to get that player to fill that position, we have Maxi's like 11 million, Omax is 2.8, and I think Spencer's making like 2. You got that stuff, a first, a second, and whatever else you can go like fish out on the market. Maybe you go back to the First National Bank of Sam Presti,
right?
And go get a pick there. But that's what you've got to fill that role, and there are a bunch of guys littered around the league who can go for around that price or less.
Yeah,
that could do it. And this is like the last piece. And if they get that settled, I'm like, dude, I don't see any reason why the team can't win a title. If they're going to defend like this, and we know there's some positive.
I like the word this psyched. I like the word this psyched when it's like 4 games ago, half the chat we're like, our role player's terrible.
Hey, look, man, sometimes it's never been more over, and other times we're so back. And right now we are so back.
As I'm yawning, I am so back and still have like another hour of work before I can go to bed. If nobody else is going to talk, I think I'm going to close this one out a little bit early. Does that sound good?
Hey,
I appreciate you hanging out though, Brian.
Of course, brother, anytime.
All right, so before we go, I'm going to do one more ad read just because this is the way these sorts of things work. Earlier, I talked a little bit about Body Spec, which is a company that does what's called a DEXA scan. It's a full body composition scan to help you understand what's going on with your body. Whether you're an athlete, which I used to be, a parent with a desk job, which is absolutely me, or just a person considering getting back into shape, which apparently I fall into after getting my scan and finding out that I just have some markers that I absolutely need to work on. You should click on the show notes down there. It's down there in the podcast show notes, or down there in the comments I'm going to post. You can find the link really easily. There's a promo code PODMAVS45. If you put that at checkout, it will be very it'll help you get a deal on this scan. It's something that would help our show if you're at all interested in helping our show while also helping you. It could be an interesting gift this time of year, something to help you kick off your fitness journey. Body Specs competitors charge as much as $150 for a scan like this. So you're going to be getting real usable information at a great price. And I am not just selling you this. I went and had one done. I'm looking forward to Josh getting one done so we can actually talk about it a little bit more. All right, guys, I'm going to close out the show. Thank you so much for hanging out. This has been a great time. Everyone have a good rest of your weekend. We will see you on Sunday. Go Mavs.
Your time and expertise are valuable, making Focus one of the most important resources to have at work. These days, professionals spend nearly half the work week on written communication, and it can be difficult to stay on task with all the emails and documents you have to get through. With Grammarly as your AI writing partner, you can stay focused and quickly get through your work with relevant real-time suggestions wherever you write. It works across 500,000 apps and websites, so it can help with everything, from brainstorming presentation ideas to sounding more confident and persuasive in emails and reports. For 15 years, Grammarly has offered best-in-class communication support and enterprise-grade security on a business model that doesn't sell your data. 93% of professionals report that Grammarly helps them get more work done. Download Grammarly for free at Grammarly.com/podcast. That's GRAMMARLY.com/podcast.